Welcome, loves, to another episode of my podcast, That's Fine With Me. Today, we're going to be talking about burnout, and I'm going to be sharing some of the techniques that really helped me out during this state. And I really wanted to dive deeper and understand the problem that I had while I was doing my videos and while I was filming. It's not a big secret that I really love makeup, you can tell, and I love creating, working with different eyeshadow palettes. I love everything connected and related to makeup. And I would say that when I was 16, I was crazy about this stuff. I could do at least 2-3 different makeup looks a day, and I was constantly learning and learning. And that was my hobby, but then it had become something more. It turned into my profession in some ways. And I always loved English. I always loved practicing English. That was the main reason why I picked my career as a translator, and it's better to say interpreter. Right now, I can proudly say that I managed to combine both of these passions and hobbies. The first one is makeup, the second one is English. I'm from Russia, and that is the main reason why my native language is Russian. But I try my best to practice English and to make sure that I can deliver very clearly message and that I can probably share some very important agenda. I always thought if you do this type of work and you're consistent and you perform and it's your hobbies basically, then you're definitely going to be into that for a long period of time. This is your passion, right? And you're like, okay, so I love this, I love that. I'm not really mine to get on camera and film myself. That is the reason I was like, yeah, it sounds good. It sounds legitimately good to be a vlogger, blogger, YouTuber, TikToker, Red Note, or I don't know. And then I started seeing a different way of me posting and filming myself throughout the years. So I talked in my previous video why you don't have to be, or why you don't want to be an influencer. I talked about some problems that you might face, and you have to know about them before you get into this game. But at the same time, I think it's really important to mention one really important factor, that sometimes when you're posting and you're consistent and it takes years, and if you're really successful, then probably still get sick of it. It's not the fact that you don't like this anymore, or maybe you don't. It's about the fact that you have to force sometimes yourself to get this creativity out. I mean, when I was a 16-year-old and was practicing and playing with makeup, I remember that I was watching a lot of different videos that I got my inspiration from, and I was trying to follow them. And then when I started my own channel, of course, most of the time I have to come up with my own creations and my own makeup looks. That is the main reason why it's a little bit challenging to provide 4 different looks a week and then create some full-time content, as well as creating something for TikTok, reposting. I was calculating this, and I talked to my husband that a lot of the times creative process doesn't take as much time as editorial process, uploading, posting, creating some thumbnails. This is in a way creative thing as well, but this is not the thing that I'm obsessed with. I'm not always into computers. I hate computers, to be honest. I hate sitting and concentrating on some work, such as like when you're editing for hours and hours. If we're talking about makeup, it's a little bit different kind of story, that I can actually create something within hours when, especially, I'm super creative and productive. But with computers, it's a little bit different kind of thing. And then I was, calculating and doing my kind of research, and it turned out that the creative process itself doesn't take that much time. I would say that, for example, I spend from 15 to 20 hours to get all the looks done, and then maybe about 30 hours. No, I'm okay, I'm a little bit dramatic, but you get my point. For example, you get 10 hours of real makeup when you're creating this, and about 20 hours of the production, I guess, thing that you should put out. That is the main reason why you can't escape it. Unfortunately, when you're not a very successful YouTuber or any creator, of course, most of this job you have to do by yourself, even something that you don't really like. You just have to do that. And it's not only about makeup or YouTube channels to be a blogger. I know that for most of the time, different types of works, they do actually have some fragment in your career that you absolutely hate, or at least you don't really enjoy that much. But you can't say that you love every single aspect of your career or job. And slowly, gradually, I caught myself thinking that, I don't really enjoy filming anymore. I don't enjoy doing my channel anymore. And I really got scared. That is the real problem. Like, if you don't like what you're doing, even it's not about the creation process. It's not about the way, like, you don't like the final result. It's more like the time that you have to put in and then just perform those tasks and do this. And then that they don't really bring you as much joy as I used to be. And that is my problem. I don't really think that is a problem right now, but a couple of months ago, I really started digging and learning about burnouts. I was like, is it a real burnout or is it a depression? Because there's a difference between depression and burnout. Depression is, for example, your boss is coming to you and saying, like, I'm paying for a vacation and you're going to go to Bora Bora, for example, and I'm going to pay for every single aspect of this Bora Bora vacation and you have to enjoy yourself. The person with depression is going to go there and don't feel anything, feel like it's meaningless, it's not even boring. You don't feel joy. That is the problem with depression. You don't feel most of the time anything. Sometimes you feel sadness, but even sadness, it's like a void and you can't escape it. The difference between burnout is that if your boss is going to come to you and say, are you going to go to Bora Bora and I'm going to pay for everything? You're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to enjoy this vacation. I'm going to be super happy about that. Thank you so much. There's a difference. And that's the main reason why I started to learning not only about burnouts and depression, but how to overcome this problem. Then I try to identify at first what I had, a depression or a burnout. And it turned out that I do have actually a burnout because aside from my work, aside from my channel, I do feel joy and excitement and I actually love my life. But when it comes to my channel, it's like, oh my God, it's another day. So there's going to be the end of the weekends and I have to start over and I don't really know if I enjoy it. And I didn't really like it because I think it's important to understand that if your work doesn't give you joy or doesn't give you anything to feel, it's not something that you should just like cope with and deal with, forget, and just get on doing this. You have to figure this out and have to make sure that you can actually erase some different negative factors from your job and then probably be a little bit more productive by getting some joy, some old joy that you used to get from filming or any other job you perform. That was the main reason why I started thinking, like, what was the real reason? The reason that, first and foremost, I don't really like doing the computer thing, and I told you this earlier, this is kind of like the biggest part of my job. And then at the same time, I would get an idea that I don't really get paid. And you would say, how is that related? It's not about even payment and money. Sometimes when you're not appreciated enough, or you are actually get paid at work, but this work costs so much more and you value so much more. Unfortunately, this is not your priority right now to quit your job and find something different, or you're looking for something different, but you don't really have a chance to quit this job at the moment. You know that your boss is not paying you enough, or probably not giving you some bonuses, or not giving you enough vacation. Maybe even not saying that you're a qualified professional who is noted, who is valuable to the team, and this can cause this issue. It's about the way you feel like people neglect you and people are not paying attention to you. I don't want to say like, oh, pity every single person to me. I'm that poor girl that I'm not noticeable and whatsoever. It's not about that. It's about the fact what I feel and how I can cope with this, how I can deal with this. When I realized that I actually have this problem of a burnout, that I don't really get paid because I don't really have that much followers. I don't really have that much, views that can bring me collaborations, and not to mention the fact that I'm from Russia, and with all the sanctions and with all the pressure, all of it is very difficult. So yeah, I actually found the reason. Okay, so what do I do next? Now I know that I have a burnout. Now I know that I am not appreciated enough and whatever. And then I started thinking, like, first and foremost, why did I start doing this job in the first place? And like, do I see myself in any other positions? Do I see myself going back to embassy? Do I see myself going back to work as translator, interpreter? Do I see myself getting to work, not working from home, getting with society, getting up every single day at a certain period of time, like from 8:30 or like 8 a.m. No, 7 a.m. That was more realistic. 7 a.m. and then I go back to home and they have to cook, and that's just the end of the week. I was comparing my style, my work, to something that I used to do, and I got really tired of eventually. Then I realized that it's really important to understand why I'm doing this. Why am I actually doing this channel? Do I have some hope? I still do have some hope. You can call me foolish, you can call me stupid, that I still have some hope after like 6 years, almost 7 years of doing this channel with no payments and with no, let's call it appreciation. But I do know that there are a lot of people appreciating my work and sharing some experience. And I'm super happy that I help someone and give them different creations that they would probably try to recreate in the future, and maybe it's gonna help them to look prettier than they usually feel themselves, or just like feel a little bit more confident. I really love this, and whenever I get some comments, I read them and I'm super appreciative, but it doesn't give me any payment. And then I was like, okay, so do I actually have payment? What is gonna happen if it doesn't change? For example, I don't really get paid, or let's fantasize. I get paid for my work. Okay, how is it going to affect me? How is it going to change my work in general? I guess at first, I'm not going to be able to hire a person who's going to edit for me. Yeah, it's almost impossible. Then I was like, okay, maybe I should decrease the amount of full videos that I upload on my YouTube channel. Is it an option? Yes, it is. Do I have this option right now? Probably not, because I still want to invest a lot of my time and energy in my channels. And that is the main reason why I have some time right now. I'm going to be doing this in the future as well. Then I was like, okay, I watched one of the videos from Justin Bieber where someone was talking about Justin Bieber, and he was like, I thought money, they're going to help me out and they're going to solve all of my issues. But now I know that money didn't really solve anything. And most of the time you would see a very successful actor or actress, singer most of the time. Like, for example, the lead of Linkin Park who committed a suicide. Let's be real, they had depression and they were really well paid. The reason, I guess, it's just because of a burnout or depression, and maybe they didn't have someone who could probably help them out in the situation, or it was unbearable for them. To make sure that I fully understand that payment is not going to solve my issue. This is a thing that to be appreciated is always nice, but how is it going to change the fact that I don't feel comfortable doing this every single day? And then I started looking for some other answers, like what can I do personally to eliminate this problem? And of course, I have to have different boundaries between my personal life and my work. And you would say, how is that possible? Like, of course, if you have a crazy boss, I worked as a personal assistant and I know what it's like to have a personal boundary with your boss. I mean, at my first ever job, I was a personal assistant and I couldn't probably just turn off my phone, and I quit my job in 3 months if I'm mistaken. And then when I got to the embassy, I just didn't carry my phone everywhere. I allowed myself to have my personal time, and even if I had some call or even if I had some message from my colleague, I answered if I wanted to answer, and I answered if I was available. And I'm not talking about, of course, like working hours. I'm talking about my weekends. I'm talking about my vacations. It's really important to set this boundary that I'm not going to come to workplace during my vacation because I have my vacation and that's it. Sorry, not sorry. Then the same thing about my YouTube channel. I'm like, okay, I have 4 days where I work a lot and I film a lot. That's probably a lot of time. I try to set up a schedule where I wake up around 8:30 in the morning, then about 1 hour it takes to upload my Red Note and my TikTok videos. Then I go downstairs, I'm in my parents' house right now, and I do my Pilates workout. That is really helpful. Do any type of workout. It doesn't have to be gym. You can walk around your, neighborhood. You can walk and have some friend along with you as well as a partner, or at least you can do some Pilates workouts. You can go to a swimming pool, whatever you prefer. But it has to be some minimum, like bare minimum activity that you have to perform. And sometimes you would say, like, while I get from one place to another and like I'm getting from home to my work, it takes a lot of time and energy. That is a kind of a workout for me. It's still a little bit different. The mindset while you're walking around and the mindset while you go into work, it's different. Even when you go from your work, you can spend additional 10 minutes to just like walk around. Though realistically, I don't know if it's possible, but if you feel like you are exhausted and you have a severe case of burnout, I think this is going to be really, really helpful, because workouts, they're really going to help you with movements. Your body's going to move. And some people would say like it's total bullshit. It's not total bullshit when everyone is talking about that for a reason. A lot of psychologists, a lot of doctors, and people in general that are stuck at home like I am, and I'm doing this from home. It's really important to give myself some time to move my body. Then I have a treadmill, and this treadmill is very helpful. I try to do at least 20 minutes a day. When I'm done with my Pilates workout, I go to a treadmill. I think I just combine it for my personal, just goals. And then, of course, you don't have to forget about personal life, meet your friends, and take time off. Take time off. And I heard from a lot of different doctors when they said, like, it doesn't have to be that you work, and you do not prioritize your personal time. And then in 2 or 3 months, you're going to just go to your vacation and think that it's going to solve all of your issues and your burnout. But then you come back and you're like, oh my God, it's so dreadful to come back and start this process again. It's the same way as a lot of psychologists explained It's the same way as if you are not working out and then you have a vacation, you start your workout program and you do this like 2 weeks, straight 2 weeks. You are super determined and you do this every single day, like for a long period of time. And then for 3 more months, you stop with your workout. And what was the point of this workout if you did this only for 2 weeks? That is the main reason why you have to balance and try to prioritize your time as much as possible. And, I asked my husband, like when it was Saturday and Sunday, sometimes we go to a restaurant, sometimes we go for a walk, sometimes we go shopping, sometimes we do things, but I want to specify that it has to be maybe outside of your house or your comfort zone. If you work every single day, like 5 times a week, maybe you should stay at home and spend these 2 days at home and enjoy this moment. And I would say that when I took my day off in my vacation, I thought like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to create anything. I don't want to, be in this space right now, in this headspace. And then I was watching one of some reality show. It was about reality show, and girls from this reality show, they were wearing some beautiful makeup. And I stopped, like I really paused and like, that's beautiful. This one is really beautiful as well. And I love this makeup as well. And I'm like, what if I create something similar but with different color? Maybe I should add a little bit different shape. Maybe I can add a little bit of gems on top. Ooh, that is going to be very interesting. And I tried. I just sat with no cameras. I sat with no computer. And I was genuinely enjoying the process of creating something. That is the main reason why I think maybe when it's your work and you just know that you have to perform and you're so tired of it, try to isolate you from some maybe space where it's uncomfortable and try to put yourself in a comfort zone. You picked some career, for example, like if once you love this career, you picked this for a reason, and then start thinking like what really brought you joy, what really helped you to pick this career in the first place. Like, is it your hobby? And then start with small, just like probably check some video that can give you inspiration, or maybe try to eliminate some things that piss you off. In my case, it's computer and editorial process. And it really brought me back. It really, really brought me back. And I felt so much more. And I gave myself some extra day off. But I had to get these hours. I had to spread, these hours within like 4 days. And that was the main reason why I was like, okay, during my Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm not doing anything. I really can probably post Red Note and TikTok during Friday and Saturday, but I don't do anything on Sundays. I don't do my Pilates workouts on Sundays. I don't do my, digital kind of like social media stuff. I relax. I spend this time with my husband. I spend this time with my friends. I spend this time with my family. We go out. We enjoy this time to make sure that there's something outside of your work and you can enjoy this. That is just something that really helped me. Another great point, in my opinion, is that fall. Sometimes, during autumn or fall, you don't feel comfortable. You feel it's gloomy, it's dull, and you don't have not only inspiration, you don't really have any desire to go out. And I totally get you guys. This is something that I deal myself with. That is the main reason why it's just some period of time that you have to embrace. If you have a chance to move, well, great, maybe to some country that doesn't have fall. But at the same time, fall is not always bad. Sometimes fall is very beautiful. Sometimes it's even warm. Not always in Russia, but sometimes we do get some sunny days. And that is something that I wanted to say. Then you should probably prioritize your sleep, especially if you work from home. This is important because you have to go to bed around, in my opinion, 10 or 11 p.m. And I try my best to do this. Sometimes I go around like 11:15 p.m. And then I try to wake up in the morning around the same time, 8:30, sometimes 9 a.m. if it's really, really gloomy and feels like I just can't wake up. But it just has to be some routine or schedule that if you perform these duties really quickly, then you are still going to have some personal time at the end of the day and enjoy this time. Read a book, have a cup of coffee or cocoa powder. I love cocoa powder. I actually do. And then, or maybe a cup of tea, maybe call your friend and enjoy this time. This is just my recommendation, how I have overcome my burnout state, because it was severe in my opinion. Like right now, I do get this tingling feeling like I really want to film something. I really want to do something. I want to share this with you guys. And is it always going to be about money? I don't really think so. It's a really nice bonus. That's a great bonus. And you do actually feel unappreciated if you don't get paid or if you don't get paid enough. But at the same time, aside from it, what else is it going to give you? except for money, is still going to be a huge part of your life. This job is a huge part of your life. If you take out money, are you still enjoying the process? Or it's something different? And even getting enough money that can satisfy you, is it still enough for you to carry on with this type of job? Or maybe this is going to be an important question to ask yourself. Do I want to switch the major? Do I want to switch my profession? I don't know. But I think the most important indicator is that you have to listen to your body, listen to your mind, and listen to yourself. And about, by the way, meditation. I know a lot of people would say, like, try to meditate. I can't. I tried myself. I tried to meditate so many times. Unfortunately, this is out of my, not even comfort zone. It's just, I sit and I have so many thoughts. I can't click them off. I can't sit and pretend that I don't have any thoughts. And even when I go back in my bed at night or early in the morning and I woke up, it's just the amount of thoughts that I get. They actually wake me up and they don't really get me into my sleep state. And sometimes I actually go to massage and it really helps as well. It's just my body is relaxing and I feel so much better. It's just a way to enjoy the process. Guys, that is it for today. I love you all so much, and let me know your thoughts. Have you ever experienced a burnout? Is it your first time? And do you have any suggestions? Maybe we can discuss them. If you do, I'm going to be very, very interested in your opinion. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in my next podcast. That's fine with me. Bye-bye.